wanting to build myself a linear tower device. I think it'd be fun. Like to run a tube, nice high voltage, get me maybe nice little capability wise. I don't know, maybe find myself an 88. I don't know, a 3000. I don't know, we'll see. W4IPC.
Yeah, nice 3x3.
Yes, a 3x3 is a good way to go. But you gotta roll your own.
That's true, Connor. And Timmy's right though. Plate modulation is the way.
Yeah, for instance, all the transmitters I built when I was a whole lot younger, nobody used linear amplifiers because of the inherent inefficiencies. Everybody was building plate modulated stuff. Take an example. A 4-400 common tool. In the linear mode, you're lucky to get about 125, 150 watts out of one. If you run the voltage up. And at that point, the tube is huffing and puffing and begging for mercy and getting really red in the face. However, if you plate modulated it and you ran the voltage up there to maybe 3,500 volts, and the right modulator, you could easily get a kilowatt out of one tube.
Hello, Tim Tron. KD2 AFL.
Well, we're having your barrel hole in here.
Sounding good. Hey Tim. You might know what's something like this. Gates BC, what's that, 1T? You ran across any of those? You know where you could get one of those at? I'm looking for one of those.
No, I know exactly what it is. I've had a lot of experience. And the question is, why do you want one?
Next for my collection.
Yeah, you gotta put it on 75.
I was thinking about maybe 40.
Guess what?
Won't do it.
So don't do it for 40?
Nope, not the way it's a transmitter out of it. I'd strip it down to all its component parts. And I'd mount the power supply, control circuits, and everything else in the 19-inch rack and build up an RF section with a pair of 4-400s and be done with it.
So you strip those 833s out and you leave the 833s and run it with the 400s. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, you keep the 833s for the modulator, and the PA tubes are a pair of 4-400s, or maybe 3 of them in parallel.
Okay, what about 160? Will it be good for 160 or just 75?
Oh, you can put them on 160. What you want to do is see the video that Clark made of me at the ARRL converting over that one. If you follow everything that's done that I did, you can do it too.
Yeah. I got the word out. I'm trying to find one, so it might be kind of hard, but I don't know. Let me know if you know somebody want to get rid of one.
There are much better transmitters than that to put on for ham radio.
Okay. Alright, keep your eyes open. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Shut this thing down and gotta go to the airport tomorrow. Alright, Tim, good care. Connor, Billy, whoever else out there. I'm gonna pull the plug on this one and get out of here. So 73s, and I'm out. And Clark, you're still out there, I'm out.
Alright, Daryl. See you later.
Hey, Timmy, you hearing any improvement on the hum situation over here?
Don't hear it now.
That's good, that's good. It's still a little bit there, but I got rid of most of it today. And now I have 0 analog audio equipment in the chain. It's all digital now. That Innovonics 222 was putting out a nasty hum and a big noise floor too. When I took that out of line and just ran everything else and brought the gains up, it was so much quieter. But that's all I got going on over here. Not too exciting.
An analogic? Not familiar with that piece.
No, that it's an analog audio processing. I don't have it. It's all digital now. The only analog piece I was saying that I had in the chain was an Innovonics 222. And I took that out. It was contributing to a lot of noise floor.
Yeah, there must have been something really wrong with it. Maybe took a lightning hit or something and it let go. Is a while ago up at BCQ, there's a transmitter that is set up for 6160, which is a new 49 meter frequency, and I basically set up the exciter. It's a linear amplifier chain. And what I did, is I set up a screen modulated Viking Adventure, because all it's needed is just a few watts of power like that. Cathode follower, screen modulated in those 7. Sounded really good, and put good electrolytics in the power supply, and choke input and all that. There hadn't been any call to use it for several months, so the last time it was on, it sounded great. So you put it on the air, and it's like, it doesn't sound right. One evening, the skip was short and I could hear it, and there was this underlying hum that seemed to be kind of nasty and intermodulating the audio. And Alan likes the 222. It's a 222. And yeah, it's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. You'll have to have the other people up there have a look at things and figure it out, because I'm not going to be traveling for some time. So, he instructed, one of the guys who should know better to check the quality of the audio going into the transmitter room. And he didn't do that. So in listening to it, I thought that one of the electrolytics in the Junction Adventurer had crapped out, and there were good new old stock capacitors that I had. I used good componentry, and it had been used here and there in other applications, and it was fine. So oh god. So come to find out, I had, a friend of mine who's working up there, who lives about an hour away. And I instructed, pull that exciter, bring it down, I'll have a look at it, and if it's okay, or if it's got a problem, I'll fix it. And you can take it back up there, and you and the other guy, who should know better, you reinstall it. Well, the guy that should know better did not check the audio feed, and there was nothing wrong with the Adventurer. And then finally, after everything was removed, the audio feed was checked out and was humming and buzzing. And the 222 was generating the hum. And basically, I think the op amps are socketed, and they do fail. So if you go through it and replace the right stuff, that thing should be working quite well.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, you're exactly right. All the ICs are socketed. It's got two electrolytics on the power supply from, secondary center tap to either side of the secondary. And I replaced those, and it didn't do anything. So my next move was going to be to just take the power supply completely out of line and try a plus minus 15 volt supply, like some other supply, and do it that way, see what happens. But yeah, I went through it and I pressed down on, the little ICs and stuff while I supported the board from underneath, and a couple of them had a little tiny bit of movement. They went down, and that didn't really do anything. But yep, it's on a pile now of a bunch of audio processing stuff that I have in another room that I don't really use. So when I get some time or I get real bored, I might start going through that, because I really like that 222, mainly for the filter. It's a really good audio filter, and it almost works better than this digital one that I'm using right now. Hello. I don't know, I just really like it. Anyway, that's definitely on the agenda, and that thing runs hot as hell too, Tim. I don't know if you ever noticed that about him, but I don't know. I've been in and out of the damn thing a bunch of times. I replaced all the resistors and crap to bring it from 10K bandwidth to 7.2, and it's kind of it's been around the block, so I don't know. I'm not getting rid of it, but I'm not using it at the moment. I had to compensate with my other processor to kind of even things out. So if I sound pretty much the same as I always do, I guess I did okay. W2BTK.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, I hate to say it, but your home is back.
Yep, I think it comes and goes while stuff heats up. Or, I don't know, but it's intermittent. It's very, very interesting. But a lot of the audio hum is gone. A lot of the stuff that I was seeing on the scope trace is gone. But yes, I still see it there a little bit.
You know, it kind of drifts in and out. Almost it's as though it might be an FME kind of hum. What's you using as a source of frequency control?
Johnson 122 VFO.
Okay, well. I might just pop me a tangerine. You know, it seems like is a kind of problem you'd have maybe with heater cathode leakage in the 6AU6 VFO. It's too bad you don't have a crop stool for this frequency.
Hold on.
KB1YFD.
Alright, I'm now crapstill controlled there, Timmy. I'm up here on 3886. And, hello to the breaker.
Hello there. Yeah, it's John, KB1YFD, out of Falmouth, Mass. I got you around here with the gas conference on some, I don't know, some kind of scopage for you.
And Billy, try switching back and forth between crapstool and VFO. And I'll give it a good listen.
Alright. This here is the crapstool. This here is the VFO. I'll go back and forth one more time. Crapstool. VFO.
Maybe I noticed slightly more hum on the VFO. Maybe with John you could, if there was any kind of an FM component, you'd notice it more than I would using just a dial detector.
Alright, Tim, yeah, I'm using the band scope and actually watching his carrier to see, how stable it is. And when I first got on, I thought I saw it move around a little bit, but that last couple of transmissions, it looks pretty solid, but I'm fully zoomed in now. Maybe I can look and see if there's some sort of close-in FM component. You hearing like a low-frequency type of warble or something like that?
Like 120 cycle power supply stuff.
All right. Yeah, actually, I don't even know the call with that other station there, but if it gives me a way back up, that'd be great. Jump in, see a few things, get down for a little bit, and be silent, and then I can see if there's some parasitic crap there.
Yeah, alright. So this is the VFO. I just shut my modulator off for a few seconds there too.
I didn't notice any change.
Yeah, the modulator was powered off completely for a good 4 seconds or so.
Well, I noticed no change in background hummage.
Well, that definitely tells us something, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, probably on the right track. Now it's just, is it in the Viking, or is it something in the amplifier? I don't know.
Well, right now, it's way back down, almost as though there's, yeah, I don't want to say an intermittent, but it's like you go into a selective fade and it becomes noticeable. And usually if you have a, you know, an FME hum, you know, when the band conditions are stable, and being that I'd be mostly center tuned on your frequency, you really don't notice any FME hum. But when there's selective fading, then it becomes apparent.
It's, yeah. I kind of see the same thing happening on the pan adapter. Like right there, it kind of twitched.
Yeah, I heard it go, and it came up a bit.
I'm literally watching it. It's like my carrier is growing fur. Right there, it looks pretty bad on the pan adapter. It like it comes and goes. It sure does. I don't know. I've been, you know, kind of not like actively, but kind of like screwing around with this for a long time now, trying to figure this out. And I haven't gone to great lengths, but today I really focused on the audio chain and all that crap, and I think I got it pretty much out of there. And there was a hum there too. I had like double hum, but now it's just a little bit of hum from whatever weird spooky stuff is going on here.
Well, do this, you know, just to totally isolate your audio from it is when you start seeing the fur begin to grow and you see that hum show up, immediately shut the power off to your modulator.
Alright, give me a sec.
Yep, I can still hear it a little.
Oh, that's full impact.
You could hear it change? Because it looked like it changed too when I did that on the pan adapter.
Yep.
Yeah, it probably did, you know, because, you know, you know, we're splitting CHs here.
Yeah, I know, but Timmy, I can't get on the air without at least one person keying up and you know you have a hum. So it's like they won't let me forget about it.
Well, it's like when I'm on with the Junction 600, it's got a loud mechanical hum.
Yeah, but at least you know where that's coming from.
True.
It's a little different when you're like, yeah, well, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, frustrating, for sure. Well, it's one of those mysteries. Wait a minute. I think the shot is coming in. There he is. He sauntered in. That's what our shot does. He saunters.
I would say it's JSM.
JSM? What? My chat's in here. She's sleeping in... I made a place, Timmy, in my rack for the cat. Down at the bottom, there's a little spot with a little bed, and she literally goes into the audio rack and, like, lays down. Maybe that's where my hum's coming from.
It's the cat purring.
There you go.
It's so cute, though.
Yeah.
Oh, they want to see the kitty cam. All right, hold on.
So Tim, who is that in there with us?
It's Billy, W2BTK. And Clark may be in there, but he's like the invisible hand.
I like it that way. N1BCG.
There you go, the invisible ham.
I'm in here too, but I'm just a PW. W4I.
Yeah, the other station's calling her W4 didn't get his call because he's not real strong in here.
Yeah, I hear you, Connor. I just had a major snafu over here. I was trying to set up the kitty cam for you. I knocked the microphone off the desk. The shock mount's all screwed up now, and Kitty ran out of the room.
Oh boy, Billy. My.
My. I'm on top of the world, and I'm getting down.
I just screwed everything up over here.
No bird on my shoulder.
Give me a minute, I gotta put my shock mount back together.
Let's all sit here quietly with our hands clasped before us while Billy does this.
Good evening, Clark. Everyone laughing.
Good evening.
Yeah, the static's in there. Probably be grabbing a nice soaking hot bath because my wife and I were involved in strenuous physical activity. Had to drop a tree. And all the activities around it. Well, propagation is good for the most part. I've been listening to BCQ on 5130 with RNI. Just hilarious.
Yeah, I just brought up Billy's Twitch feed here so I can see my signal delayed a little bit, but yeah, I see my signal. Hello. Hey, you're in the shadows over there. My gosh. Oh, wait a minute, a little bit more light. Oh, this is pretty funny. All right, well, pretty good, Bill. I like your live feed. That looks nice.
Why, thank you. I'm kind of ignoring it tonight. I was very into the combo with Timmy. There was a lot of chat activity that I missed.
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard to do both at the same time. It's just, I find it very distracting, and I don't do a good job at either one if I try to spread too thin.
Yeah. Well, it is a challenge, and sometimes my attention's a little divided. I go back and listen to these things afterward, and I hear comments that, like, kind of whizzed right by me the first time, and it was stuff I really wanted to respond to that I missed because I wasn't paying enough attention. Timmy, what do you think about all that, like, live streaming ham radio on Twitch? Nobody's I mean, there's a couple of people doing it, but there's no, like, good interactive AM, like, experience stuff going on other than this, really.
Well, I find it interesting. I could probably do something similarly from here. Jesus. Now I have all I can do to keep it together with what I got.
Yeah. It's fun, though, man. Like, you get people coming in here and commenting on stuff and listening along. You know? It's good. Some nights it's kind of needed, too, because it's good record of what happened. You can kind of go back and then You can also use it as a platform, like when we're discussing something, and like a website is mentioned or anything, I'll pull it up on the feed, and like, you know, you can listen along and look at the site, stuff like that. It's nice, you know. It's especially, check the exhaust temp. It's especially funny when people are like, the internet comes into play and everybody's like, oh yeah, he said this, he did that. And it's like, oh well, we'll just like look in real time as somebody's like saying something incorrect. It'll be like on the screen, you know, with something else, a little bit of evidence. Those games are fun too. It's like, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with this yet, but it seems like people are having fun.
So essentially, you're archiving what you're streaming, eh?
Yeah, with the waterfall pan adapter, you can see my oscilloscope on transmit. I'm here on camera talking into mic, and there's a chat going on, and anybody who says anything on the chat, it gets overlaid into the video, which is archived.
Yeah, very interesting. Because listening to that little clip that I ran into on YouTube, yeah, you know, I was much impressed by the audio quality, but obviously it's right off your SDR with no intervening audio hellification.
Yeah, exactly. It's directly off the SDR, and I have a digital to analog conversion there that doesn't need to be there, just because I don't have any digital outputs on this computer. But it's actually, no, I lied. On the stream, it never goes analog. It's just digital captured off my software-defined receiver. And on YouTube, it's degraded a little bit. They compress the files a lot. But when you're watching on stream, it's pretty close to like exactly what's coming out of my SDR.
Well, sometime when I'm up for it, I'll have to check it out and set up for it. So there's video along with it besides the waterfall, eh?
Yeah, I've got two webcams going. One faces me, so you can kind of see me talking on the mic, and then the other one faces down at my Tektronix oscilloscope, so you can see the envelope as I talk. And that would be cool, like if you did like a Zoom chat or a Skype or something and came on the feed, we could discuss buzzardly tube designs and stuff like that. You know, maybe sometime when there's not a lot going on the air, or just to have some other content. I don't know.
Why don't you guys just go buy a new Flexor and a Non and forget all this old crap?
You know, the old crap is fun.
Hey, Dave.
I've been listening for a minute. It's definitely phase modulated there. Not even a question. Now you got resident hum. You can hear it, just like Timmy said. When you go to USB and select the fade, the hum changes differently than your audio, and it actually jumps out. So there's something going on there with something is superimposed on a heater or filament, and it could be in the amp. Could be. You know, there might be a problem with the cathode. There's a trifilar choke in that thing. But something might be breaking down in there. So, probably if you don't find it, it's going to be a go in and swap that stuff out mission, you know?
Oh, man. Yeah, we doubled it.
Yes, you did. But Dave, yep. That's good to hear. I mean, I'm thinking Viking, honestly, because now I started seeing a little bit of like ripple on my carrier these days. You know, when I never ever used to. But then again, I'm better at using a scope now, so I don't know what to think.
Yeah, sorry I double with you, Timmy. I was listening on a remote receiver up to about 10 minutes ago, and you were solid in there off the same system, but here, band changed just a little bit. I thought you had stopped transmitting.
QPC.
There's somebody else in there, too. Yeah, it's bizarre, Dave. You're not your usual self.
And that's what I was saying to Billy. Of course, Dave and I knew Uncle Willie, W3WQ.
He was my mentor. You know, he was a big influence in my life, and
I was always doing knowing different things relating to ham radio and
AM. He was a mover and shaker in his own way, and he, you know, if he were around now, he'd be into doing something very similar. When Skype came around, he and a number of other people started getting Skype accounts, and would be kind of doing the same thing, multimedia ham radio. This WA1HLR.
W2 very weak. Who was QPC? Somebody was trying to break in there. You want to do it again?
Well, we got a breaker on the channel, Cameron.
I guess not.
485, this is the mud negatory.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah, she's a little noisy.
Yeah. Well, you came back up to me. Yeah, Billy, Uncle Willie, 3DUQ really never stopped. Like, he would get a new rig, and it didn't matter. He was in his 60s. He would still figure it out, what it took to make it perform the way that he wanted it to perform. And he wasn't one of those guys, oh, everything is surface mount now. You can't work on your radio, so I'm just going to rust and not do anything. He wasn't like that.
That's the spirit, though. Surface mount's not scary. It's just tiny.
Yeah, well, as I've said numerous times, I was really lucky to have people around back for mentors and stuff, including Timmy. Very lucky. Very, very lucky. And the people that bitch about the state of amateur radio today, the biggest problem with amateur radio is that the mentors suck today. And that's the way it is.
Yeah, well, that being said, surface mount stuff does suck. I don't like working on it.
I've not had the experience, and I don't have the tools and equipment to do so.
Well, I worked on it quite a bit myself, so, yeah, if it's necessary, you figure it out.
Timmy, the way,
Guess what,
The patience and all that, we got the equipment. I probably could have fixed my 706, and I know I could have gotten into it,
But it would still be a 706. Where's my positive peaks? Hello. What's the matter with this thing? Hello, 5. I don't know.
5? You can count to 5?
Makes you sound like a whack job. I mean, some people can pull it off. You're one of them, but you will never hear me do that. 5. That works better.
5 does work the best. That gets the most 5. Look at my scope. You can see it if you log in. 5. Yay. 5. See?
Mark.
You know, it's like when I run the SBE rig, which I gotta get to work on that thing and fix it. You know, it's like the bus is crowded when you get on and you want to sit down. But, alright, So you get on the bus and you're a bum, a wino. You haven't changed your clothes in maybe a month, stenching a BO, and wine spilled on your clothes, and you come walking in, scruffy around the edges, and you want to sit down. People just automatically move out of the way and let you have a seat. My, what a clear frequency.
Does this thing work? WB2GCR checking activity.
Hey, Bear.
Bear? I am here. I have arrived. Trailing great clouds of glory. Good evening, gentlemen, ladies and germs.
Take 2 Bear and call me in the morning.
Arrived. And I'm leaving odorous trails of fart gas out my ass right in.
3 out of 4 doctors recommend Bear.
Pretty soon they're going to tax that, Timmy.
Yeah.
They do, right? What was it, like the cow farts were causing global warming or something, but only in California? I read that.
There's some international plan to put some kind of a assessment on anything that makes any kind of methane, and also CO2, which plants need.
Well, before cattle became the thing, back many years ago, when we had huge herds of buffalo wandering the prairie landscape, they also fart too, and they're bigger, and they're more massive than cows, and they generate greater quantities of fart gas.
And how does that compare to W1HLR?
I don't know, those tests have not been run.
W2VW.
Give me some hard-boiled eggs, and I'll end the world.
Going away with an ancient honor, and my wife makes up what we call fart salad sandwich. Basically tuna and hard-boiled eggs sliced up with a little onion in it.
Oh, damn. That sounds potent. W2BTK.
Sunoco 260 for your digestive system.
That and a little Mucinex in your great shape.
Did I hear a ZX?
There's somebody else in there, but kind of piss weak up here.
Somebody tried to check in, gentlemen. Shall I pick them up?
Go ahead.
All right, the braking station, please come ahead. I think it was X-ray shooting or something.
Okay, fair game. Kilo 1 Zulu Sierra, Dave.
Zulu Sierra Dave, Kilo 1 Zulu Sierra Dave. Dave is here. I'd like everybody to say, hello, Dave.
Hello.
Yeah. You used to have a different call and used to talk to Herb all the time. I remember Dave. Hi, Dave.
I'm on the 10th step.
Is that where you get an AM transmitter?
Yeah. I'm 1 step away.
1 step away from...
It's a 10 step away.
Whatever happened to that Collins 32V?
Yes, I wish I still had it.
You still have it?
No, it went bye-bye.
Yeah, didn't the low voltage supply transformer crap out?
I don't know about that. It's a long time ago.
Long time ago in a land far, far away.
And the dust flows forward and the dust flows back.
Y'all.
Stormy night.
I have a pretty funny story about hard-boiled eggs.
You do?
Yeah. This is my very, very first day as an apprentice in the, the electrical union. I show up on the job site. Never really been on a construction site before, so I was pretty wide-eyed. And, they matched me up with this guy. He's like, all right, you go work with this guy. And, he's like, this is a first day apprentice, to be nice to him. So I was like, okay. And he brings me up in this lift like 25 feet in the air and decides like he wants to mess around with me. So he's like, yeah, like reach out there and tighten up that fitting. I didn't get it on the last, when I was up there before. So I'm like reached out there and I had to pin myself. Like it was hard to reach. Like I had to reach through a bunch of crap. And so I got myself all positioned. And in this position, I wasn't going anywhere very fast, So he starts like reaching out like, oh, you're cute. And like he like touches my ass. And he does it again, and I was like, whoa. I like pulled out my screwdriver, and I was like, bro, like, what's up? Like, he's like, oh, man. And so he's giggling and laughing, thinks it's the funniest thing ever. So, like, he, like, messes around again at lunch or something, like, oh, yeah, he's cute at this and that. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to keep you away from my ass. So I started packing myself 3 or 4 hard-boiled eggs every morning, and I'd eat them early so that, the gases had time to, do their thing. And so right around the time, like an hour or so after I got to work, oh man, it was bad. Like I couldn't barely stand it. And it was like every day. So we'd get up in this lift and it'd just be like, oh my God, Jesus. And like the guy didn't want to get anywhere near me. And then we worked together for like another 2 or 3 months. It was nice.
He learned his lesson.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of people that they have a strange sense of humor like that. Even though it's not a propensity of any kind of, it's just a sick sense of humor to do that kind of stuff. I've seen that. I haven't personally been involved in it, but I've seen it.
Oh, I've done it to myself. Have you ever heard me operating on Channel 19 on the Citizens Band? Let's go back like maybe 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I get it. I know a guy who worked with in the music business, and I won't name the guy's name, but he's been around. He goes all the way back to the 60s, and he's still out there. And he was telling me he worked with this dude, and the guy would like grab his crotch and stuff, and he'd say, I'm only like this before lunchtime.
It is weird. I don't know why people do it.
And Jimmy, from the fire department there, ever tell you about all the crazy crap that those guys did in Manhattan when, like, it was like fraternal hazing, I mean, did he ever hear any of the stories about that?
No, I can only imagine.
He said he went in there one night. He was supposed to be sleeping in there, and like they all like dressed up like the village people.
Faggots.
I mean, that's really out there, and it's a lot of work to do that. You want to dress up like the village people? You can't do that in 5 minutes.
Macho man.
What's that?
Problem with people's propensity for this, that, or the other, if they're consenting adults. It's just strange that there are some people that seem to be caught in the middle somehow. Yeah.
It is funny though. I mean, look at like it comes to mind the Police Academy movies. You know that like those two, like two loser cops, like they'd always end up somehow in that Blue Oyster bar, that gay bar, and that music would come on, da 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 da, and it was funny, man.
Yeah, but it's not funny. I mean, that's funny, but I mean, they're taking, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, it's funny.
Yeah, no, I see. Like in real life, when it's happening to you, you can't really, you know, you're like, what the hell? Watching a movie is totally different. I get it, but you know, it's still funny humor in the right way. It's just, yeah, it's weird when people do it to you. It always is. Sometimes that's the point, I guess.
Yeah, that's a real showstopper. You want to stop the QSO. Hey, man, this is even better than talking about flying an airplane.
Oh, God. Let me turn on my phase blast. No, you know what? No.
Anyway, I got a good listen on the new shower radio there, the remote, and man, it sounded like you're on a BC 610. I mean, that's what it sounded like when the hum was up there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Are you looking at my scope right now, or no?
No, I'm looking at a schematic for a Ranger. These guys are going back and forth on QRZ, and most of them have forgotten. And they're hashing how to do the mods and what, you know, dump the feedback winding, you don't need that, blah blah, and this and that. And I posted Timmy's mods, but then I know Timmy said that a lot of his mods that are published aren't complete. Anyway, guy's probably out there on his bench listening to us right now, wondering why the hell he's even bothering.
Yeah, I gotta become more proactive in that world.
Well, you might be able to help some people, but it's very frustrating because, man, there are a lot of people that, let's just say they don't play well in the sandbox.
Yeah, life's too short for that.
You can look at it that way, but these people are all cooped up and they need something to do. And if I'm keeping them from bothering small animals and children, I've done a service to the universe. So that's how I look at it, Timmy.
Yeah. Well, I just don't like people that distribute misinformation.
Oh, you mean like WHAI, the myth guy? Yes, I get that. There's a perfect example. The guy's got talent, he knows how to write, he knows a few things, but when he makes a mistake, it's monumental. And then it gets out there to all these people that think he's a guru, and you listen to him no matter what, and they don't have the technical knowledge to understand that he's all wet. What do? You get on the air, because there's no moderators on the air. That's what I like about it. There's no moderators.
That's the
friggin' moderator.
That's the thing, Dave and Timmy. Like, you know, Timmy, you hate spread of misinformation, right? And that's bad enough by itself. And that happens on the air and the internet. But on the internet, the spread of misinformation goes on by these, you know, gurus, and then they have their buddies step in and silence anybody who, you know, can prove them wrong or be like, hey, man, you're a little off or this or that. No, set in stone, you know, and it'll be that way because you'll be silenced if you try to step in and challenge them. Even if what you're doing is like correct and all that stuff, the world will never know because of the measuring that goes on. W2BTK.
Comment.
Oh no.
Oh, comment.
W2VW. Comment?
The most egregious offender on the web of that sort is a gentleman whose call letters are the same as a famous national hit. He is quite a piece of work. WB2GCR says this as public service.
No, I didn't catch that. His call letters are the same as what?
A very famous national radio company receiver.
Oh.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. And all of a sudden my positive peaks came back. My audio gain has gone up. What the hell is wrong with this thing?
Yeah.
That happened to me once too, Dave.
Okay, Tim.
Yes, I know. I was thinking NC300, but no. Basically 3 letters.
The big dial on the front, the famous dial, the blank 3-letter dial.
You can change the coils in it, but you can't change this guy's coils.
Yep, I got it, I know who it is.
Quite a piece of work.
And all of a sudden I picked up a whole bunch of audio gain here. What the heck kind of piece of crap am I using? Hang on. I had this problem before with my mic boom, moving it around. There's something in the audio, where all the audio gear is, that it mechanically moves around and changes the gain. So, there.
I moved a whole lot of gear around on the other day. Took everything out of the rack in the lab, rerouted it all around and changed the ordering. I've got a R388, a 390, TMC SSB adapter, and then the panoramic radio product spectrum analyzer above that. It came out really nice. But my audio didn't change at all.
Sounds like you need to take a couple of bear.
Remember, 3 out of 4 doctors, 9 out of 10 doctors.
Speaking of audio, Dave, I'm running without the 222 now, and I compensated with the other thing. Do I sound the same as I usually do? I'm not looking for an audio report, just a relative, like, yes or no. Do I sound pretty much the same?
Oh no, you sound like you're inside a giant metal tank.
I think you've got a little bit less overall average level than you had before, but I would have to record you and play you back and then compare it to an old recording to be sure, but I don't think you have the average level that you had, which there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need any punch, not with that signal.
Yeah, all right. That makes perfect sense. I'm not grabbing nearly the amount of limiting that I was before, so FB. I did change the frequency response though a little bit. That's what I was more concerned with.
Yeah, it sounds fine. The frequency response is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't have the squish that it had, which you were pulling off seamlessly before. So, anyway, it's 6 1/2 a dozen of whatever. I don't know. I gotta get my calculator.
Bill, can you flip your phase negative first?
Yeah, I can flip my phase. Hold on.
Everybody should have a scope hooked up.
Not only do I have a scope, Bear, and now I'm in the opposite polarity, you can log in and look at it in real time as I talk, so it takes all the guesswork out.
Yeah, all right. Well, I like it with the other unit in. It gave you more gumption, but that's fine. I think you're in the correct phase now. I think. But, you know, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Very hard to tell. Hard to tell. Very hard to tell.
Yeah, no, I flipped it back.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at your peaks are narrower and higher in what you think is the proper phase, Billy.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, my wife has got the Epsom salt bath prepared. It's time for me to step on out and go soak myself. I'll see you guys later. This is WA1H. Boy, nothing like it worse than a stuck belch. LR, see you all later.
Have any plastic toy boats to take in there with you? And any rubber ducks?
Nah, nothing like that.
You want me to send you some?
That's okay. I can come up with my own floaty toys.
Good night, Timmy. And regards to Marcy and Rubber Ducky, you're the one for me.
Yeah.
So, alright. We'll see you later, Timmy. And a quick question for Dave.
You're gonna have to run it through Bear first. He's vetting all of my questions tonight.
Go ahead, Billy. I'll convene the committee and send a memo to Dave.
Alright, we'll allow it. I'm going for it. So, when I flip, it's interesting, right? So I do have skinnier and more larger positive peaks in this phase, right? I flip it in the other phase, and what you said happens, but my voice on certain vowels and syllables and things, it's like one way or the other. There's really not that much, like, they both baseline like the same, but on different syllables when I flip the phase, if that makes any sense. And this way I just see the most positive peaks, so that was it. Unlike, the most of the words that I say.
This is the positive phase for your voice with this setup. I go by looking at the scope and looking for when you baseline, or when you get close to the baseline. You get more positives here than baseline. The other way, you're hitting the baseline pretty good. You only had little skinny peaks going up. So this is more better.
This transmitter, it drifts differently every evening. Well, if you want to make it easier to see this difference between one and the other, increase your bandwidth and put in a bunch of fake bass. Add a bunch of fake bass, and it will become really apparent, A and B. And the more you narrow your bandwidth, and especially get rid of the low stuff, what happens is you become more symmetrical. You have to have audio bandwidth to have natural asymmetry. Which is why if you've got an old AM transmitter or a rice burner that's very narrow, you'll never see a difference between flipping your audio polarity, which I'm surprised phase. I should really devote some effort. After he stamps out people calling it modified Heising, he should go after people saying audio phase. It's not phase, it's polarity. And one of the to-do things on my to-do list I probably won't ever do, but I would if I was going to, would be just like I said last night, come up with a graphical step-by-step pictures and something that anybody can look at. And here's what you have when you add up a whole bunch of non-harmonically related sine waves, and this is why the human voice is not symmetrical, and why people with wider bandwidth voices have more asymmetry usually. That there are a whole bunch of other things involved with that also. So I hope that made it even worse for you to comprehend, Bill.
No, it didn't, and I'm responding to you because you said something to me, but I realize I might be doubling. Let me check.
Yeah, you're doubling.
All right. Well, I mean, I was going to respond to Dave as he was talking to me, but if you'd like to jump in before I have the chance to do so, feel free. Now's your time.
Yeah, I do want to jump in before you can respond. Billy, you didn't get...
The problem is you can't. So,
have you?
Wait, I missed that. Dave, yeah, you're totally right. Polarity is the correct term. Phase is in the time domain. We're just talking about polarity. But anyway, this probably sounds horrible. I have a bunch of fake bass in there, right? And I'm as wide as it goes, so I'm probably making friends. Now, this is condition 1, and I'm looking at it. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to flip the phase and then key up again. And then I'm going to talk. So if you key up in between, just know I'm going to walk over, hit the phase button, and then key up again. So I'm going to do that now.
Oh boy.
All right, so this is condition 2. Hello, 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 and it doesn't look quite as good to me. But I don't know what you're seeing. Maybe this is the right phase, but it looks like I'm not baselining because I'm hitting those 3 diodes really hard. Do you see that bright line there?
Yeah, this is the antiphase. Beware of the antiphase.
Yeah, you know what you need to do is eliminate that, you got to come up with a way to switch that sucker out, man, because you're looking for your natural asymmetry. I forgot you're even using that. You got a lot more fake bass, man. You sound like I wouldn't want to meet you in a dark night on a parking lot, you know, in the position number 2. I mean, you got a lot more, you know, like you could sell Gillette razors and stuff.
Yeah, but Billy, you were never on and never heard Dirk on the air, have you?
No.
Well, Dirk, going back a little way, Dirk, very nice fella, lives up in northern Vermont. And he and another station guy, W2FRM, Funky Rubber Monkey, FRM. Another very nice fellow. I think Guy lived in New Hampshire, Massachusetts. And they would go at it for hours about who was in phase and what it was and how one thing was this or that relating to phase. And you missed, but there might be some tape. I think it would be very educational. Dave, you remember Dirk and Guy, don't you?
Of course I do. Dirk and Guy were always gentlemen on the air, and Dirk had his thing. He had his externally modulated rig, and actually Dirk is the guy who first showed me how to estimate what your impedance would be on a piece of ladder line feeding an antenna. We did an AM field day from Herb's house. A bunch of guys went up there. It was like a week after field day. And I brought my Johnson 500 up there, and I forget who brought the generator. It might have been Dirk's generator. Dirk definitely brought his antenna tuner. And we threw up a separate antenna system from Herb's, and we were in the woods there, and got on the air with that. Worked a bunch of people for AM field day. It was a joke like any other thing. Backlash against stupid amateur traditions, I guess. Which field day's not a stupid tradition, but you know what I mean. It was still backlash because we were on AM. How dare we? W2VW.
Yeah, well, Dirk was very big on phase. And he always debated Guy. And I remember at least 1 or 2 hour-long QSOs. They went back and forth about it. So, there you go. You would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I guess the slop bucket guys that fired up on 90 have figured out what bandwidth really is, and they moved up a little higher. Well, congratulations. I'm glad people are learning out here in amateur radio. That's what it's all about.
I got it.
Super tight, like 2.1 kHz filter. you don't really hear very much until it like gets right in the window, you know. It's like having a little having a house with really narrow slit windows and then like a gorilla sticks its face in.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling they moved because they might have been hearing something up there. It wasn't really all that far away. Anyway, I'm looking for a Band-Aid. Man, I sliced my index finger. I got this box of Band-Aids, and I really hate to use them because they're 20 years old, and I'm hoping that, I could get another 20 years out of them. And I'm down to nothing but weird Band-Aids. Like they have these double, triple dipple Band-Aids that, I don't know, like if your heart falls out, you're supposed to put this over your chest. And really tiny, small Band-Aids that, I don't know, if time test, or whatever, you stick that over the wound. And a regular Band-Aid, regular size, regular Band-Aid, damn it.
You haven't bought Band-Aids in a long time. That whole market's gone to hell. I mean, you buy regular Band-Aids a brand. You pay a lot of money for not very many. The only good thing is that all the other brands of Band-Aids, even the ones they get at the doctor's office, they're all made in friggin' China, and the adhesive sucks. The only one that has decent adhesive that doesn't come off, like in an hour, is friggin' Band-Aid. So, and the other thing they do that really is stupid, oh, my, it's like some moderators, never mind, bump. The other thing that they do is the gauze doesn't go all the way to the edge of the Band-Aid, so if you're trying to lop it over a longer cut, you end up putting adhesive on the cut. Ah, man, I take out the scissor and trim it, then the stupid thing is not even a half-inch wide when you're done. Ah, why bother?
Yeah, why bother?
Really, why bother? Speaking of why bother right there. Hang on a minute. W2VW. I'm making some fine adjustments here for band conditions. Alright. So I've adjusted a couple of fine adjustments here for the band conditions at hand so that I can most match my transmitted audio to get across what it is I would like to get across. Yeah. Well, this whole thing of Band-Aids has a 2000 date code on it. So they were made in 2000, and it came out of a transmitter facility that they built in a real big hurry after 9/11 to take over for a transmitting facility that no longer existed, thanks to our friendly jihadists. And this came out of a first aid kit that I pulled out of service in 2007. Little orange plastic thing was down in the basement. I'm like, oh, Band-Aids. All right, well, I'll throw them up in the medicine cabinet. So we used up all the real Band-Aids, and now I'm stuck with these suckers. They're real made-in-America Band-Aids, but they're, the backing sticks to them when you go to take them. And they've been in a climate-controlled situation. Now, all I really need is I got this little flap of skin that I just need to keep it a little bit of pressure on it, and I'll be fine. I mean, my finger will be fine. The rest of me is probably no hope.
Have you ever noticed how Band-Aids have changed?
Dave, you got that thing though, man. Like a chunk of skin, that thing, it's in the garbage, man. And you're out here on 75 meters. That's Dave 1, hot water heater 0.
Yeah, this was stupid. Yes, it did get a chunk out of me, but that water tank, Billy, by the time I put it on the ground at the plumbing supply, when I was done with it, it looked like Joe Frazier, Joe Lewis, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman all had their way with it.
What about Leon's face?
Well, you got it good, man. A chunk of skin is nothing. That doesn't get a point.
Oh, wait, is it a cut from metal? Metal cuts is the worst.
They just yelling in the background. Yeah, it also got a piece of my wall going up the basement steps, man. It didn't just get me, it got my wall. And I take that personally.
You know, you put some antibiotic on it. It's a cut from rusty stuff because it gets infected. It always does for me. I don't know about you. WB2GCR, about 5 minutes after the top of the hour. News and traffic.
W2VW. Hello. I gotta work on this stupid audio level thing, man. It's bumming me out.
Ooh, I can hear it too when it goes up. W2BTK. I had the same problem too, Dave. My audio would gain up and down, and it was that damn 222 with crappy switches or intermittent stuff. Like, there's just so many problems with that thing.
You know, I love to use old stuff, and I pride myself on being able to vet parts, and they could just go on for another 50 years, but there's something in this thing that's got to go.
That was a very... I didn't get any audio from that, but I could hear somebody keying up addressing us. Anybody hear that? That might be too weak to work, but I heard something. There it was again.
Yeah, I heard it too. I put the prod duck detector on, and I definitely heard a piece of a male voice going, like in the middle of a syllable, and that's all I got.
All right, yeah, they're just keying up, popping in there, but it was, you made it into my receiver, that's for sure, but I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, switch to FT8, whoever you are, and I'll put on my FT8 decoder.
That's a country song, Billy. You made it into my receiver, but I'm gonna move on.
Are you being serious?
Oh, it'd be great. What, are you kidding me?
Yeah, when?
Oh, it would be great. I thought you said there was a country song. Well, yeah, there should be. You want me to write it? I'm gonna call up Chris JBL. We'll make it happen.
Oh, he's not a country guy at all. Wrong guy.
He plays like pedal steel and all that. What kind of music is he playing on his steel guitar?
I don't know what he's playing on the steel guitar. I gotta ask him again. But he's a jazz guy.
Yeah, blues, jazz, I guess. Yeah, all right. But I don't really like country that much either. But I agree, though. There should be a country song titled "You Made It Into My Receiver, but now I'm moving on."
But you're still 5 and 9.
Yeah, you're 5 and 9. But can you repeat your call a few times in succession using phonetics?
Or perhaps send me an email with your call.
Yeah, just you're 5 and 9. I can't hear you, but just send me an email with the call. I'll get you in the log.
Can you use Morse code?
He probably could talk to us with Morse code. I mean, his carrier's making on the pan adapter pretty well. It's making a streak.
Good evening.
Hello there!
Just a quick drive-by that says, hello. Heard you, Dave, and Bear, and Billy. Just stopping in to say, hello.
Who dat? Who dat?
Hello, Bear, KB3W,
WB3W... what?
Alright. Sounding good, Billy. Did you pin your hum down?
Yeah, we got it knocked back a little bit. It's still there a little bit, but it's looking a lot better. We kind of determined that it's like maybe an FM, some kind of phasey weirdness going on in the transmitter, because it's affected by QSB, and when I shut my modulator off, it's still there, or it gets worse, or it changes. So I'm pretty much ruling out audio at this point. And I did have a hum in my audio, but I got rid of that today. I got 2 hums, you know, multiple hum sources here. You can never have enough. W2BTK.
Spoken like a true male. Can never have enough hums.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Dave. How are you surviving the chaos we call normal now?
It's not as much fun as I thought it was going to be. How about you?
About the same reaction there, Dave. Piddling around the house here looking for things to do that I really don't need to do, but do just to entertain myself.
You guys got a projected light it back up date, or how's that going?
We're actually open and have been for 2 weeks now. It's all blur, Dave, but it's tiresome. We don't have any, nobody's allowed in the building but staff, which is fine. We're servicing all the customers through a walk-up window, and basically just drop off the car and we'll get it taken care of and we'll call you when it's done. So we're not handling any waiting appointments, but it's like almost every day your vendors change up something, so they'll run 2, 3, 4 days on one schedule, and then they change up and change to a different schedule, and it just kind of throws monkey wrench. It's in a constant state of flux.
Yeah, and really all you have to do is change one letter from flux, and that also describes what happens when a plan doesn't come together.
Yeah. I mean, you sit around and do little to no business 1 or 2 days, and then all of a sudden we're slammed and do our average business for a day or so. So it's better than nothing, Dave. At least we're keeping the paychecks filled, which is the most important. You know, I got 7 people, and well, they all need paychecks, and that's what we're trying to do, is just keep them. Hopefully, you know, I was all focused for, okay, May 1st, and then they started talking into June, so, and now they're talking July, so, I don't know. It's almost as if a certain group of people are sitting around a poker game drinking beer going, you know, I wonder if they can last 2 more weeks.
Well, we got the giant petri dish going on in Florida, you know, opening the beaches back up. So in about another week, we're going to start seeing the results of what happened when, in warmer weather, when people get too close. I have a feeling it's not going to look too good. Anyway, my heart goes out to you, man. You're trying to keep people's livelihood from being interrupted, and good for you. Just be as safe as you can, and you can't have too much chlorine in your life.
Yeah, we're, like I said, the customers either leave the keys in the car, or when they drop them off to the girls up front, they wipe them off with these wipes. And nobody gets in any customer's property or deals with any customer's property without wearing gloves, and it's for their own safety and for the safety of the customers. I don't want to pick it up from one car and put it in another, so. I've heard the beaches are being open for essential, like walking, exercise type of stuff. They didn't want people laying out blankets and hanging out the day type of stuff, but that's the spin of the media that I heard.
Well, I think you'll be fine, because Perry's been the guinea pig. He's been doing that for a while, like, you know, wiping off people's keys with bleach and climbing in and out of their cars and stuff with gloves and all, and he's fine.
Yeah, and for the most part, the customers are respectful and understanding, and we're not doing any interior work. So, and we're doing a lot of, I have 2 big fleets that, one of them's a beverage distributor, and the other one's a kitchen, you know, restaurant kitchen equipment installations and services. So they've kept us pretty busy, and several police officers with their personal vehicles and some others that are in the government. So it's a challenge. It's just a whiplash. You go in one day and you're standing around kicking dust bunnies, and you start to worry about how much longer you can hang out and hold out, and then the other day, next day, you go in and get slammed, and you're like, all right, we're gonna make it through it, and then the next day you go back in and it's dead as a stone again. So, but I guess that's the way it's gonna be for the next several weeks.
Yeah, well, at least you have peaks of activity, you know. Seems exciting. I can tell you from the other end of things, I've been sitting at home not working for, well, basically since December, man, and it wears on you a little bit, like so I don't know. It's nice to have a place to go every day, regardless if you're kicking dust bunnies or what. You know, I don't know. I'm waiting over here, getting a little crazy, and I'm not crazy because I'm cooped up. It's just because of the hum.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, I think about you all the time there, Billy, with, I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining or my situation's any better or worse than anybody else's. It's trying to, like I was saying earlier, trying to keep everybody in a paycheck. They all have families of their own, so. But, I keep hoping that they hear one day that you've bumped up the list far enough and they put you back to work. But then you gotta wonder, a friend of mine, Dave, Billy, I told you before, he does life safety, and they shut him down for a week, and then once the company caught their breath and figured out what they were going to do, they put him on another quick job, a crew of 6, I think he said, in a building next to rural hospitals. It's supposed to be some medical extension wing. So he's not real happy about that. He would have preferred to stay on the job that he was at, but who knows? Just wait another 30 seconds. It'll change again, I'm sure. But anyhow, this wasn't what you guys were carrying on about. So good evening. I just wanted to slide in and say hello to Dave and see how he was doing. Say hello to the bear. And hello to you again too, Billy. And I'm trying to get out of here, but I'll get suckered into something, I'm sure. So, KB3W, FV, good evening.
I don't even know if Dave is still there. Dave might be gone.
No, I'm here. Ada just came in with Gotham the dog. She got so fuzzy that Ada decided to give her a little bit of a haircut, and she was just showing me. Gave her a bath. So now you have a dog that's got like crooked haircut, but she can see again. Her hair's not in her eyes, and she came over to see what I look like. Instead of sniffing, you know, she looked at me, which is that's a big improvement, because her fur, it's hair actually. She's a hypoallergenic mini poodle. It's not fur. It doesn't fall out and leave dander all over the place. It's just like hair, but it's you know, it gets long, and the place we take her to, which is right up the street, obviously is not operating right now. Anyway, Brian, good summation of what's going on, and yeah, be safe, man. And you're doing what you think is right, which isn't what is necessarily what is right, but you're doing what you think is right. So your heart's in the right place, and all that. W2 very weak. And I mean that.
Oh, thanks, Dave. And Billy, you want something to do, come on down. Of course, that's if you're allowed to cross the state line. Somebody was telling me that New Hampshire isn't letting people into the state. They're stopping people and turning them around. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried, but just the simple task going out to get groceries and stuff is like, you know, nobody's stopping you or anything, but now you can't go in without a mask and this and that, and it's like, I'm not going anywhere, man, until they come out and say, like, all right, it's over, you know, everyone move freely, Fourth Amendment is back in effect, sorry we had to take it away, you know.
Yeah. I got a mother-in-law that's in southern tip of West Virginia, and she's a seamstress, so she's pretty much stopped doing all of that. She has one of her friends, the doctor, that checks in on her every week, but you can tell talking to her on the phone she gets a little cabin fever. Normally this time of year, Lisa and I picked her up and we go on a mini vacation or a weekend away or something like that. Camping trip, short one or something, and take her with us, but that's gonna have to wait. Anywho, enough of that crap. And congrats on the poodle cut. I figured, Dave, that well, I'm growing the Corona hairdo, so I'm gonna see if it can surpass the length that I had it at when I got married. And well, only this time there'll be an empty spot in the middle.
Yeah, man, I hear you. Well, I haven't really been keeping up on my haircuts here in the last couple of years anyway, so family members are used to looking at me scruffy. But I just happened to get a haircut right before all this crap started, but of course now it's been long enough that it needs to get cut again. And I am blessed without having male pattern baldness going on for whatever reason. Probably not enough U-turns between the sheets.
Yep. I never knew I had that spot until for some reason I was bent down doing something and somebody took a picture from behind me. And apparently it must have been sunny that morning, because I could have stopped traffic.
I think I'm going a little bald on the, well, not a little, I'm going bald because of the damn Suburban, man, that feed point.
Oh yeah, man, that would do it right overhead. I'm surprised more of those guys don't wind up with leukemia.
I'm really pretty convinced that's it, man, because it's just one real bad spot on the top of my head, and it's, I don't know, I'm a little young to be like this bald. I think nobody else in my family is, well, I can't really, I'm the oldest, so who knows.
I got told by somebody that my Suburban was going to cause me to go blind. I said, is that what happened?
Maybe if you were in like microwave frequencies.
Hey, Billy, did your mother's father have hair male pattern baldness issues? Because I'm pretty sure that's how it runs.
No, I don't believe he did.
Things that make you say, W2VW. What's all this slop bucket?
It's people who don't really care about how they sound. They just want to get out here and communicate.
Is that what it is? I mean, I get on slop bucket, and yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, I know guys get close to AM, and they like to complain about AM, so I'm obliged to help them.
Oh yeah, if they're into hating AM, I could facilitate them hating AM right now. I got a couple switches.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna add some What am I going to do here? I got to get me some of that incidental carrier phase modulation going. That's some pretty hot stuff.
Here, oh wait, hold on. Alright, I'm gonna grab a little bit more density here. So this is like wideband compression on the way in on the channel strip. So I'm actually seeing less multiband activity now. Yeah, definitely way less multiband activity, and I'm grabbing a little bit on the way in. Does that improve the density?
Yes, it did. It improved something in the mid-bass noticeably, and I'm not looking graphically, and I'm not looking at anything on your Twitch stream, by the way. So from what I can hear here, and I'm looking at your envelope as expressed on the analog meter and nothing else, you picked up a little bit of sound, and also your T sounds are more dense. So yeah, I would say that you have density.
Density. QRSTSTSTUV, right? There you go. That's good. I'm not like that big of a fan of this way. Kind of prefer it how it was before, and to do this density making as a final stage, but I have it completely opposite of that. It's on the way in, and look at that, it screwed up my frequency response a little bit. Well, not screwed up, it changed my frequency response. So there's that.
The solution is to walk away from it for 2 days, because you get, I mean, I know you know this, but you know, once you've been in front of something, listening to sounds, or even anything, you know, you could be trying to thread the needle. If you can't get it to your satisfaction, sometimes you got to go get a pizza.
Well, I'm not even listening to any of this crap I'm doing. I'm just going off the scope pattern, and I can tell what's going on because I've heard it so many times. You know, I could probably... Oh, that thing is right in the way. I could throw some more audio on the carrier too. 5. Yeah.
You don't need to change anything. And if you're looking at just the envelope display, you're not looking at a spectral. Well, you're looking at a spectral display too. But man, you gotta slap some cans on. That, I mean, yeah, you can do it with instrumentation, but you can hear stuff. You know, and there are people who can hear stuff, and I would way sooner use that ability and then back it up with the other stuff, you know, the graphical and the envelope display and all that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I spent quite a while listening to it, and that was a while ago, but I have it in my head. So now when I make changes, I just watch the envelope. Oh yeah, and I remember how it sounded when I did that. So I don't have to listen right now. Like, I know kind of what's going on, and I can dial it in and out just with the envelope. But yeah, no, you're right. Don't do it that way. You gotta listen first. But I did my homework, so I can do it this way.
Roger.
Yeah, I'll run a little more density in there for now. I just don't, the S's and T things, oh yeah, it's modulating way more. And sometimes that can sound a little yellowy. If somebody's listening narrow, and they're right on that like 4K, 5K area, that's where the S's and T's and F sounds, really. You say the word, you know, an S word and an F word, and there's no differentiation, and if you're pumping, sometimes it gets all screwed up and just sounds bad.
So, if you say like Facebook fill, yeah, I'm checking it. Try that.
Facebook fill, aka P-lip. Facebook fill, and then I'll say like staring at the stars, notice that S sound, right? You lower down a 4 or 5 kC bandwidth, now all my S staring at the stars sound like faring at the fars, you know?
Faring at the farts.
Yeah, that over here. I am.
So that's the dance I'm doing over here. W2BTK, welcome back. Timmy!
Yeah.
Oh, you were in the tub.
A bit. Just had a nice, relaxing. The hell? Dang. Yuri. Dang. There, that's better on the signal. Yeah. I was just thinking of winding it down. My wife is watching TV, and I don't particularly care to watch what she's watching, so I figured I'd come out here.
Yaw!
Yaw!
Oh, we're just farting around with, like, audio stuff. I just rolled in a little more density, and we were marveling at the changes in frequency response, notably the S's and T's that came up and are now modulating more than they were before, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't decided.
Well, I think it's a good thing. What'd you do? The 222 and slay it back in, or are you doing everything in the digital domain?
No, we're all DSP. The 222 is still in the unused audio processor pile. And what I did was I grabbed some compression on the way in, as they say, right on the channel strip, post EQ on the channel strip, and then it feeds into the processor from there, which has a certain set of, you know, what it does to things. I prefer to do it on the way out to build density on the out, not on the in before it hits all the multiband and stuff, because I think that's basically what changed the frequency response. The multiband limiting is doing very little now, whereas before it was doing stuff.
Yeah, well, I like a presence rise and intensifying of energy in the 3 to 5 kilohertz region for, no, as you say, just differentiating between sibilant sounds, S's, F's, and T's. The other thing is many signals lack energy in Jesus. Like energy.
W2 very weak.
And you know, if the person at the other end is using a limited bandwidth receiver, those sound kind of dull at best. And the only time that you can really hear the sibilant sounds of somebody who isn't really doing any pre-emphasis is if you know, band conditions are ideal and you're able to open the receiver up to at least 10 or 12 or 15 kC wide. Then you can hear it. That's assuming that there isn't a bunch of trash that's seeping in, as usually is the case. Yeah. So, you gotta intensify it so that there's a greater density of concentration. And the other thing is when you start to pump a fair amount of energy, into the higher audio frequencies. It basically maintains your channel width and keeps, people from drifting in and saying that, oh, even though they fire up 3 or 4 kilohertz away, oh, I didn't hear you. Well, shit. When you dump a lot of energy into the highs as well as the rest of it, they'll hear you, and they'll stay away, hopefully.
Yeah, that makes good sense. And it makes sense why I had a rise in the S's and T's and highs, because it's wideband compression that I'm doing now. I'm doing more of a wideband as opposed to splitting it into, what is this, like 8 different bands I think this thing does. I like that. But that's the other thing. I took the 222 out. I have no preemphasis anymore, so I had boosted my highs a little bit and played a game to try to get them about back where they were. But yeah, this little bit of compression on the way in definitely perked those things up.
Yeah, well, eventually we'll have to pull that 222 out of the crapped out audio processor pile, and I got one of them too. And spend time, get replacement chips and redo it. So I believe you said the thing runs real hot in normal conditions.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. The thing gets smoking hot. Once I took it out of the rack, like, the ambient temperature of just walking over there is noticeably less.
Well, I never really noticed that. I've got a 222 of my own that's up in the bus, and I had been using it on the BC610B for bastardized, and it did alright. I'm thinking of once I get things going in the bunker with a processing machine, I'm going to use it. But I like how the thing works and all that, so I'm going to check in on that and see how hot the thing does run, and if so, I probably have to have a means of air cooling, because it's not good to have stuff run hot. And you'd think wearing a piece of broadcast gear that the manufacturer would not cool it.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that is, but I mean, I heard multiple people talking about 222s on the air today, and they all said that. They run hot.
Well, that's a situation that'll have to be fixed.
Yeah, well, I fixed it over here.
Yeah, it's in a pile.
Yeah, man. I told Billy that's what I do. Something gets on my nerves enough, I just take it and I toss it in the pile, and that's it. I don't need to fix it. I don't even need another one. It's okay. Just throw it in the pile.
Well, I've got a dead 528E, which I, figured out its power supply electrolytics. And that's going to be a pain in the ass getting that whole thing apart. I've got a Duro DAP 610, which is a very nice processor. Very open, uncolored. And that's got some weird intermittence. I almost thought of sending it back to Mike Duro, but I don't know how he's doing it. I haven't had any contact with him in years. But I got a manual on it somewhere. I'd like to get that thing going. And then I have I think it's an Innovonics Mach 2, which is like an 8-band processor. And that's got some dead chips. And that thing needs to be gone over. And that could prove to be interesting.
The discriminate audio processor. I've seen YouTube videos of those. Never played with one. Very cool.
Well, he allegedly was the developer or the inventor of multi-band processing, but I have a funny feeling that he and Steve QIX arrived at about the same time, where Steve designed and built a 3 or 4 band audio processor that he used at a radio station he was chief engineer at. And then when he left, the processor went with him. So that's what he was using up until he pulled down his... And I kind of conceived of the same thing way back in the 70s of taking the electronic crossover and splitting the band up to maybe 3 bands and have 3 separate processors, each one configured with the right time constants for the frequency band, and then combine them all. But I was just not in a position to, because the stuff was not available, but you know, it's just a concept. Maybe a number of people have concepts like that. But I'd like to get the DAP 610, the DAP 310. I had one of them that I used to use back before the fire, and I made a couple of mods to it which cleaned it up. But I don't think it quite has the overall control that I think it should, as far as just the 3-band compressor and a limiter, a Stone Age, just a set of back-to-back diodes, and you play around with the biasing voltage to set the clip threshold for positive and negative peaks. I made a modification to it. If you use LEDs as diode clippers, they're soft clipping as opposed to the hard clip of just an ordinary old diode. So I put a pair of LEDs in there and played around with a biasing voltage, and it worked. It worked. You know, you could have the light out in the ham shaft with the top removed from the processor, and under modulation you see the negative peak LED flickering away and the positive peak one would sit there and do nothing.
You know, that's really, I've messed with that too, Timmy, using LEDs to do clipping. I've heard of that. A guy was talking about that on a chicken band forum, and I ended up ordering this like little, you know, analog compressor board off like eBay or something, and it ran the same way. It used diodes, red LEDs, to achieve the clipping, and there was one for the positive and one for the negative. And if you change the type of LED on the negative, and I experimented with something, I found out infrared diode had like less of a drop or something, and if I changed the negative diode out to an infrared diode, I got like badass negative peak clipping, and the positives were, you know, left pretty much alone, or whatever that other LED was grabbing. And that was fascinating, you know. I love that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't think there was a huge difference between the characteristics of LEDs and lit. What more can I say? This is WA1HLR.
Yeah. That was you were like fading when you were yawning. It sounded crazy. Is Dave still out there?
Yeah, man, I'm still here. I was just listening to some other RF activity on another band here with you guys in one ear and listening to some local guys here. just trying to remind myself why I don't use that band. Anyway, I'm gonna hit the road, folks. Great stuff. And Timmy, always nice running into you on the air, and thanks for all the entertainment when I'm not on the air. Doing well up there. And Billy73, anybody else who's still listening? I don't know if Brian and Perry, I don't know if they didn't check out, but I didn't hear them. I don't know. My crystal ball is not working too well. Anyway, I'll be listening for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to be black out. So thanks, and Saventi Tracy, good DX, and good luck in the contest. You're all 5 and 9, New Jersey. W2VW here on Beechwood Mountain.
Alright, Dave, very good. I find this is modulating with you, old man. Hi. It's always good to hear you in there. I always enjoyed, there's the good buddies that say, Ratchet join. Well, you know, I almost got down on 3705 earlier this evening and bellowed out a number of CQs, and just to see who would show up, if anybody. And at the same score, I thought of getting on 160, and you heard John KB1AFD call in. He generally hangs out there. But, you know, 160, full of static. I listened briefly on 40 meters, full of static. There's some nights where I'm adventurous and you're up on different bands in hopes of some activity, but oh God. This evening. I like listening to these. Yeah, the good thoughts. Well, I'll see you later, Dave.
Yeah, see you later, Dave. And you know, the frequencies in use, you're firing up right in our passband there. Thank you.
Yeah, who's that?
So, a lower sideband station on 3890.
Oh, that's kind of numb.
Yeah, it's not too nice to do that, because now, you know, they're totally QRMing our QSO here. I don't know if they're aware of it. Maybe they just, like, don't know about AM, how it works, this and that, but I don't know. Maybe they're doing it to be malicious. Who knows? It's kind of hard to tell, but let's see. Yeah, that extra little bit of density there in the S's and T's should be sounding pretty good to you, but you're not able to listen to wide right now, so maybe not. Let's just see. Yeah, look at that. Modulating right up there. This is W2BTK.
Okay, I can hear a little bit of spot bucket in there, but it's a very thick week up here. Well, if I was feeling like hanging in for a while, I'd put the Tungsten 600 on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to hang out here myself, but they're doing okay over here. Your carrier's over top of it, but obviously, you know, they're up over your modulation there, but that's only in the upper sideband. Luckily, you've got two, so I'll listen to you on the lower.
Yeah. I'm on the 160 dipole. I'm going to switch to the array, see if it makes any difference. Does this help any?
You went down 10 dB.
Oh, wow. Well, it's band conditions this evening. It's a high-angle night.
10 dB might not be fair, because I guess you faded right as you did that, too. Yeah, you lost probably like 5-6 dB on that, if I'm watching the trends correctly.
Yeah, you know, band conditions. You know, another night it's the other way around. Unless you're a good ways away. Well, it's just this little tickle in the throat. Probably just from slapping my nap, and it just gets me going. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bail out of here. My wife watches a lot of PBS, and I generally watch stuff with her, but you know, the other thing is PBS also shows various programs and documentaries that show the very ugly side of humanity, like how the blacks were treated in the 1800s and the early 1900s, and you know, that's our that's our, oh God, I'm trying to grasp for the term, but it's our skeleton in the closet. But the other thing that really irks me is Hitler and what he did to the Jews in the concentration camps. So there's some show on there that, you know, they're showing you know, accounts of Auschwitz and some survivors that were describing, and I'm just like, ugh. I don't know if you're a believer in reincarnation, but I tend to think, you know, when my mother told me about, you know, the Germans in concentration camps when I was like 12 years old, it really upset me. You know, I didn't really tell her that the whole thing upset me, but it really did. And I have a feeling that I maybe was a victim in a past life. I don't know. You know, and seeing something like that, and then, you know, I wouldn't be able to get to sleep, and I want to sleep well tonight. W2BTK from WA1HLR.
Yeah, I can kind of vibe on that, Timmy. Reincarnation, all that stuff. I mean, there's energy that you get from stuff, and you can't explain. I think that might have something to do with it. I mean, like, look at like cats and dogs and stuff. Those could be reincarnated people. Like, you know, I don't know. I kind of vibe on that too. And that's weird. I mean, yeah, I remember learning, I know you want to go, but I remember learning about that stuff in high school. They did the whole Holocaust thing and everything. This is kind of a funny story. It was awful. Like, we went through, it was like 45 minutes, really somber tone in the classroom after we got done with that discussion, and it was just kind of quiet, and everybody was like reflecting a little bit, and this one jerky kid, oh my God, raised his hand, you know, and he had the look on his face and everything, and he raised his hand. He's like, well, yeah, I have a relative who died in the Holocaust. And the teacher was like, that's so awful, like, who was he, or like, you want to talk about it? And he was like, yeah, it was my great so-and-so. he fell out of the guard tower and died, and everybody was, the teacher flipped out. She was like, get out of here, you know, and like, it was awful. But I mean, dude, like, everybody was just stoned, like, after talking about that stuff. It's awful. So I know where you're coming from, and that's a weird feeling anyway. But all right, man, I'll let you go do your thing. I'm exhausting pretty hot air right now, so I might think about getting off the key. This is W2BTK in Montana Mountain in beautiful New Jersey.
Okay, Billy, very good. Reincarnation, I have no way to prove it, but you know, I'm very much a scientist when it comes to looking at things, but hard to say. When we go, what happens to our etherical energy? Does it dissipate? Does it mean that when you crap out, that's the end of the road? Nobody knows. Exactly. Nobody knows. But anyway, well, that's what's always really upset me is man's inhumanity to man. And there's no need of it. No need of it at all. And it still goes on in the world today. I mean, the way the repression is going on in China towards various sects and groups and whatnot. And in other countries too. It's just pretty heinous. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on that. I really don't. But that kid in high school, you know, some people are just so insensitive. And then you have these wackos that, I think it was like back in the 80s and into the 90s were saying, oh, the Holocaust never happened. It never happened, you know, that's BS, you know, it never happened. Well, you know, history is history, and you can't disprove it. Anyway, I'll see you later, Billy. Good catching up with you a little bit there. W2BTK from WA1HLR is getting out.
All right, Timmy. Have a great night. Don't dwell on it. And we'll catch you next time, man. Good AM. All around. The Timtron. I was so excited to get my general class license and my boat anchor transmitter on the air so I could come out here and talk to the Timtron. And I'm serious about that. So good times, man. I'll catch you later. W2BTK.
Later.
Alright, this mic works.
Yeah. Let's see. $400. Yeah, that's... Nobody runs illegal power anyway. I think that's about it for AM stuff tonight. I see a QSO down on 7.3. Maybe I'll slide down there real quick.
Your brain wasn't idling, it was pretty well pickled.
Yeah, well, I didn't fall asleep in the chair.
I'm in the same position, feet up on the desk here and kicked back in the chair, and the mic boom stretched all the way out, so remote switch in my hand, so I'm out in the shack here, and I could very easily sleep in this chair again. Alright, well, you're out of here, and, well, Bobby's out of beer, so I guess that means I'm out of here, too.
Hello there!
Hey, KB3W, FV.
No!
No!
I just got on frequency, man. I wrapped up my QSO with the Timtron, and now I slid on down here to see what's going on. I heard you, Carrie. I heard you, Brian. And maybe Bob. I didn't hear Bob, but I haven't been here long. W2BTK.
Hey, K4 KBW. Oh, yeah. I think Brian's trying to skate out of here.
Nah, I'll hang out and talk to my friend Billy for a little bit. Was there somebody else that came with you?
No, I was up there QSOing with Dave and Timmy, and they were both out. They went to bed. I'm not far behind them, but, you know, I've got the live stream going right now. I got a couple people watching, so I slid down here for some more AM goodness.
Well, sorry I can't hang, Billy. I gotta use my brain tomorrow. And Brian and Bobby made me stay up too late last night.
Yeah. Up here. Oh, we were on here chewing the fat.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah?
That song says somewhere there's a woman to blame.
Oh, sure. It's not my fault. I didn't push the button. KC2U love you. Good night, guys.
The button on the oscilloscope?
All right, Carrie, have a good one. 7-3s. K4 KBW.
Good night, Carrie. Good night to Ken, too. See you later.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm loving the new call. You got the KBW duo. It was confusing before, but now it's just like, you know, everybody knows.
There's an AM QSO on 3705. There's an AM QSO on 3835. An AM QSO on 3873. And an AM QSO on 3885. And all of it was fine business copy here on the Bay.
Oh, yeah. The first part of that was a perfect double, but I actually heard both of y'all.
Go ahead, Billy, my bad.
I was just BSing, saying I think it's funny how there's two KBWs now.
Well, you can get a KBW.
You can KBW store, though.
Yeah, where do you go? Like kbwcall.com or something?
Yeah, and because eventually we're going to be running the KBW net. So we're going to be accepting all stations with the KBW. Oh, that's silly.
Well, yeah, I've been trying to study for my extra and like not really doing such a great job. Maybe one day I'll have a short call.
Well, the best thing I can think of for studying for that is the app you put on your cell phone. So you can, they'll continue asking you all the possible questions, and you just keep answering them, and eventually you'll just kind of like know the answers for all of them. That's how I pass my exams.
Yeah, I just need to get serious about it. Like I'll think I'm serious about it, and for like a day I'll study, and then I'll just not do it anymore, or get on the radio, or go work on something. Whatever.
I took a class for it at the local club, which was pretty interesting. And then AM Test Online, I signed up for that and was farting around with it for, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. I finally took some time off from work, and all I do is sit there and hammer through that and through that in a book for like the week before I took it, because I ended up taking mine. I had to have it read to me. So if you've never had anybody give you a test by talking to you, that's a bit of a challenge. But that's what I ended up doing. But I can remember even the morning to go up there, I was pouring through it pretty good.
Yeah, that's gotta be a completely different headspace. Like when you're staring at a paper in your own mind thinking, and then like when you're actively conversing with somebody, I don't think you think the same way, I wouldn't want to take a test like that.
I don't think I could do it.
It's interesting, that's for sure. That was the first time I'd ever done it that way, but I kind of started thinking about it like from the standpoint that I get customers asking me questions all day long about their cars and automatically spit the answers out, so. But I understood the material too. So, I don't know how long I've had it now. 2 years? I don't know. It's pretty cool. The class was interesting. It was given by an older him who was an electrical engineer, and he really got into how the Smith charts worked and what you would use them for and how you figure out reactance versus capacity. That whole... I've forgotten more than I learned.
Hola, hola, 1, 2, 3, W4IPC.
There he is.
Supposed to drink caffeine after 8 p.m.
It's drinking champagne. This is W4IPC champagne.
Would be I.
Got into the sugar bowl.
Yeah, who gave Connor a Red Bull before bedtime?
I have to start class tomorrow. No heck. Spring break was last week, so. Class starts again. Online class. You know how much online class sucks? Oh my god, it's horrible.
Oh, I know, I did them. You're probably saving a lot of money though, man, and that'll matter at one point. When I was in college, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm in college. But now I'm like, damn, I was in college. I get bills for that crap.
No, Billy. They're still charging me the same as one more class. Because, of this coronavirus thing, they transferred all classes online, but they're still charging the same amount. What's up with that?
Don't pay it.
Oh, I don't anyway. way, I have scholarships, so it's the people that can't.
See, now that's screwed up, man. That they're charging that crazy amount of money for their facilities and like all that stuff, and you know, like that's how they justify it. We have blah 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 campus. This is it. No, you don't. You've got online classes. You know, price them as such. Sorry, like we're all taking it in the you know what on this, so don't gouge, okay? And yes, that's gouging.
Oh, yeah.
It sure is.
And the real kick in the nuts is most college students are laid off because of this stupid coronavirus, so... W4IPC.
Yep, I could get real salty about it. I mean, my experience in college, I ended up feeling like I was kind of scammed, honestly, but it depends what you go. I went to school for music, Connor, so I mean, I really shot myself in the foot. You're going for an EE. Now that's something that I wish I did. Like that to me would be worth it. If I could pay all that money and put all that time in and walk away with an EE, oh hell yeah. But that's not what I did, and it's not what a lot of kids do. You know, it's like parents make them go. In my case, they were like, no, you're going to college. I was like, well, okay. And you know, I'm paying for it too. Okay, cool. My dad did help me pay a lot of the interest, but I mean, those are on me. And my degree is in music production. Now, I work as an electrician. I pay those loans every month. They don't do anything for me. So if you want to be an EE, be an EE, but make sure that you get that paper, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, have you seen the paper them EEs get? Oh heck yeah. Music, huh? Not gender studies? You're young enough. What are you, 40, 50? You could go back and incur more useless debt.
40, 50? Come on, man.
Could take online classes, but I don't know how expensive they are. I guess you're not in the right area for your field of expertise, Billy. I guess you would almost have to be up in New York City or down in Nashville or out in Hollywood or something. I don't know. Yeah, you say music production, I'm thinking recording studio for major labels or some production company or something. You never know, there may be an opportunity through the electrical industry. You'll bump into somebody.
Or you can just be like me and work at McDonald's. You know, I started out flipping burgers and stuff and dropping fries. And now they let me clean the bathrooms and stuff and sweep up. You know, it's a good job.
Oh, man.
Bobby got awarded the gold toilet plunger.
Well, the problem is, right now, I can't even do that. I can't even do that to support my hemorrhaging of... Oops, I'm speaking into the wrong side of the microphone. I can't even work at McDonald's flipping burgers to support my hemorrhaging of money into my hobby. Everyone's hiring. What's up with that? That's kind of screwed up.
See, Connor, the cool thing is the guys who are out here you hang out with will teach you how to get crap and literally, like, take stuff out of dumpsters and build transmitters with it for not much money. It can be done. It could definitely be done. You just gotta, like, be resourceful, make all your own stuff. And it involves like blowing stuff up a lot. Like you're gonna launch stuff across the room, and as long as you learn from it and you don't get too hurt, That's the key to like doing the hobby, having a nice signal, and not spending a lot of money.
Yeah, welcome to my world for the last I don't know how many years. But yes. I have a drawer with blown up parts in it. I don't know why I keep them, but it is a drawer of shame.
We all have one.
Is it like everybody's kitchen has a drawer of the junk drawer?
Hey, that junk drawer's very, very helpful sometimes. Don't pick on the junk drawer.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I rummage through it to repurpose some stuff. But, yeah, I have a drawer full of blown up fats and transorbs. Rectifiers and drivers. What else? That's it. You know, off my experimental stuff. Man. But, you know, experimenting is fun. And launching stuff across the room, that's fun, too. And that magic smoke, it just smells so wonderful.
Yeah, you let the genie out of the bottle, you meet the genie. But Connor, yeah, junk box, junk drawer. I have a junk room in my house, Connor. It's an entire room filled with lots of old, like, there's so much stuff in there. Audio processing stuff, TV transmitter crap. And it's all like poles and surplus that were being thrown away. Most of the crap is from NBC. And it's like old, you know, television transmitter crap. Like stuff you wouldn't want laying around in your house. But I have it laying around in my house. And I was able to build lots and lots of stuff for my station here. Rummaging through that thing, pulling parts out, grabbing this in here. And maybe I would have to order one or two things. But, you know, for the most part, that junk box / junk room that I have saves me a lot of money, man. And if you have a way to hold on to junk that's not going to inconvenience you or, like, you know, degrade your quality of life, keep it around. Junk box is where it's at.
I knew a guy.
If you ask my parents, my whole shack is a junk box. This is going to be an interesting statement. Taken out of context, this would be. Anyway, I need to find like a junk sugar daddy around here that works at a radio station that can give me his little scraps, you know. W4IPC.
Wait, what? K4KVW.
He wants a sugar mama.
Right. I thought he misspoke.
He needs to go find himself one of them cougars.
Clark calls them ham fairies.
I'm pretty sure Clark is a ham fairy. But yeah, I need to find a local broadcast engineer that I can make buddies with and
I know a guy who would take equipment that wasn't working and he would fix it and resell it. So he'd buy it for pennies on the dollar, clean it up, fix it, and return it or resell it. Or he'd buy 2 or 3 different radios of the same type that weren't working and put one good working radio together, and then scavenge the parts out of the other rigs. He'd strip it down to the, pull capacitors and whatever out of transformer, whatever, and sort it all out so he had the pieces to fix the other rigs as they came through. And that's how he built his entire station. That was his deal. I know another ham who restores desktop AM radios from the 30s and 40s and 50s, complete down to doing the woodwork and rewiring them and everything. Howard Mills. made very good income restoring Collins transmitters. I spoke to him today. Very cool guy. And so there's dozens of ways of doing it. You just got to be a little industrious.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I'm going to find a way to, someplace where I can find some parts around here. We'll find it. Once I can get out of the house and meet up, I have a couple of broadcast engineer friends, and then I can go to a broadcast engineer meeting and meet some more, kind of learn, sponge up some of their secrets.
Yeah. I've had it rough, right, Brian?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, you too. I mean, it's been difficult, huh?
I think the whole hobby is Billy knows. It's just a lot of it's trial and error, and with the trial comes wisdom, and with the errors become knowledge. So I got a ballon here somewhere still. I won't let Lisa throw it away. That went up in smoke. Like a Roman candle in the middle of the woods one day.
I remember, back in the day, me and Brian, we were, I was sitting at my station, inside of my antenna, literally inside of my antenna, and I couldn't figure out while I was transmitting why my eyes would be burning and running, and I would start feeling sick. And the only way I can get a good signal out is if my ceiling fans, I had two ceiling fans, they both had to be running in the opposite direction of each other because my dipole was wrapped around my ceiling fans. Oh, Brian, you remember those days?
Hooking up TS480s and seeing them crap out. What happened? Oh.
Yep. Man, I'll tell you, I mean, wow. But I'll tell you what, though. I remember when after a while, once we got the FT101s on there and figured out how to bypass all the audio sections and go right into the ring modulator with the audio, man, that opened up a whole new world to hi-fi, high-fidelity AM audio. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun back then, messing with that stuff. I would order, and that was what was cool about the FT101s, because it's all modular. Everything's plug-in boards like a computer. So you can pull the boards out, you can put them on your bench, and you can sit there and modify them and play around with stuff and change values of capacitors and resistors and then, see what it does. Man, that was a lot of fun. I tell you what, I learned a lot just from that.
Well, you're not a real ham until you set off a capacitor in a 220 volt twin 3500Z amplifier in your shack, so it sounds like somebody cut loose a 12 gauge shotgun. And while you're sitting there shell-shocked from the noise that came from this amplifier, you realize the room's filling with smoke and the smoke alarms go off. Then you're a real ham.
Man, you guys...
Not in my own shack, but in my Elmer's shack did that. Does that count? He set me on his SB220. Actually, I think it was an SB221. And I was playing on it on 40 meters, and all of a sudden, kabang! I mean, talk about being dazed. I mean, what a noise.
man, you guys are doing all this stuff with like expensive ham equipment. Holy crap. See, I got all my blowing stuff up out of my system on the chicken band. And those were like little Cobra radios and stuff. You know, you pick them up for like $30 on eBay. Launch stuff across the room. Yeah, that was doing that with the Yaesu. Oh my God. Yep. I had the little cheesy radios, got it all out of the way. And then the only HF transmitter I've ever owned was this one, this Viking 2. That's it. I haven't been able to blow this thing up. It's pretty much a tank. The tank circuit in this thing is very robust. But yeah, blowing all that crap up. I been there, done that, got the t-shirt, but it was all CB stuff. And yeah, I had that same revelation on the chicken band with those 148s with the Darlington paramodulator. You could just pipe audio right into it. Everybody was like, holy crap, that sounds really good. And everybody started doing it. And then shortly after I got on HF. But, you know, anyway, I've been at it for a little while here. I'm gonna, I think, pack it in and go to sleep. Or at least try to wind down over here. Shut off some of these blowers, quiet down the noise floor, and chill out. So, real nice talking to you guys tonight. We'll do it again soon. W2BTK on Montana Mountain, saying see ya.
Alrighty, we're driving off the 200 watts of carrier now. Good evening, Billy. And with that, I'm going to say 73.2. I was actually going to do that on my next transmission, but you beat me to it. I have to wake up at... let's see. I have to wake up at 0700. Oh, man. My week of waking up at 11, 12 o'clock is over. Good night, gentlemen, and, she's probably not listening, but good night, Carrie. W4IPC. Per chunk.
Well, 7-3s to both of you. Bind, torture, kill. Very interesting call. Yep. The BTK killer. Wow, that's pretty good. But 7-3s to you guys. Good talking to you. And have yourself a good evening. I have to wake up, well, tomorrow night, but I have to go to work as well. It kind of stinks, but especially during this pandemic. Oh gosh, it puts a whole new twist on reality. Anyway, 7-3s, guys. K4KBW.
It's Bind, Torture, Kill, but it's also Billy the Kid, because that was my CB handle. All right, good night, guys.
That's pretty cool. Mine was the Silver Bullet. Man. And back when I had my CB license, they actually handed out licenses. Yeah. Wow. Good old days. Anyway, 7-3s.
Hey, Billy. See you, Connor.
So, hey, Brian, did you ever get one of those licenses?
What do you mean? You need a license for this crap?
Yeah, back in the day.
Where are we? Oh, there we are. See, I'm using this crappy microphone. I couldn't get my good one. Oh, no, that mic, yeah. The crappy mic. So, thanks for watching, guys. I wasn't even planning on streaming today, but I fired up, got out of here. So, you get what was that, a 2-hour and 40-minute stream. I'll be back probably tomorrow. I'm going to try to do this every day, maybe every other day, so check back. If you're not following, hit the follow button. You'll get notifications when I go live. And thanks for hanging out with me. I'm really enjoying doing these streams. Hopefully you guys are enjoying them on the other end. So if that's the case, we'll keep going. I'm having fun. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by for some ham radio. Peace.